And this is Michigan's AutoTalk Podcast, and thanks for listening. This is episode 97. I'm Phil Tower. Al and John have this episode off. We want to remind you every episode of Michigan's AutoTalk Podcast celebrates the automobile and everything automotive. We're also about helping and supporting you, car and truck owners, across our great state of Michigan, birthplace of nearly everything automotive. We can't say that so much anymore. Remember, we are an iHeartRadio podcast. You can find us as well on the Spotify app, as well as Apple Podcasts, and just about any place you listen to your podcast, including rocks that may play audio as well, too. You know, just it's 2023. You never know where you're going to be able to listen to a podcast. It's my pleasure to welcome back one of our favorite guests. He is Karl Brauer. Karl is executive analyst with iSeeCars.com, and they're always putting in my inbox some really cool studies. Karl, first of all, welcome back to the program. It's good to have you here.
Hey, great to be on with you. Always fun talking cars with the car people.
Yeah. And this is again about overpaying for cars. We kind of talked about a similar study recently, but this is taking a look at the cars priced highest above sticker, or MSRP. Now, let's just stop right there. MSRP, Karl Brauer, is that still the same as sticker? Is there a little difference there?
Yeah, it's still the same. That's still manufacturer suggested retail price, but it's that S that gets you, because at the end of the day, the manufacturers don't own the car once it goes to the dealer. The dealer owns the car, and he sells it for whatever he wants. And as you know, most of our history, we negotiated down from MSRP last couple of years for various reasons we're all painfully aware of. We've had to negotiate up from MSRP on average.
And these are for our listeners here in Michigan and West Michigan. This is really important to understand because iSeeCars.com broke this down to the highest above manufacturer standard retail price in Grand Rapids. This is in the Grand Rapids-Kalamazoo, Battle Creek DMA. And we're going to go through the list. There are really no big surprises on here. One of these vehicles is almost nearly impossible to get. Every time I see one of these vehicles, it's like seeing a unicorn on the road. The average, though, over MSRP, over sticker price that is paid in this market of Grand Rapids, Kalamazoo, and Battle Creek is 7.7%. Now, this is coming down a bit overall, especially nationally. Right, Karl?
Yeah, we hit 10.2% over MSRP on average across the country back in July. So we have been dropping. We're getting back to, we're edging back to MSRP. Imagine someday we might actually pay MSRP on average for new cars. I mean, what a treat! What a treat!
And there are some states where you're really taking it on the chin. I mean, really paying very high over retail nationally. As you look at it, San Diego is the worst market. Where for the Ford Maverick, people are paying 40% above sticker price, and San Francisco for the Maverick, 33.3% over sticker price. The Genesis GV70 made the list nationally in a lot of markets because it's a hot car. Help me remember, that's the sedan. That's not the SUV, right, Karl?
Yeah, no, I think that is the SUV. And it's brand new, and it also there's an electric version coming too. But this is actually the non-electric one, and it's super hot. It's good. It's got a lot of attention on it because it's new and people love it. I think that category, that kind of smaller to mid-sized SUV is hot right now, and the Genesis brand, they've just with their design, and everyone loves them.
Yeah, the 2.5 liter turbo for that vehicle is around 43,000 sticker. There's also a 3.5 liter turbo sport version, which is closer to 60,000. And then again, it comes down to how much you're overpaying for the car. So we are speaking with Karl Brauer, executive analyst with iSeeCars.com, as we focus in on the cars. These are the 5 cars priced highest above retail here in the Grand Rapids-Kalamazoo Battle Creek market. Again, on average, about nearly 8%, or about $3,100 over sticker price is what people are typically paying. And again, Karl, just to refresh our listeners' memories, this is mainly because of scarcity of stock and certain models. Fair enough to say?
Yeah. I mean, I think anyone who's gone looking for cars over the last 2 years has seen this firsthand, where they go to the dealer and there's probably not very many cars on the lot. And when they say they want a new car, the dealer says something like, I don't know when I'm going to get one of those in, and then they often see the same car they want sitting there, and they're like, what about that? Well, that's used. And then they say, well, how much to get that? Just because they want a car at any time, and that drives the used car price up. So that's why new and used prices are so tied together. We've got studies on how far up used car prices have shot over the past 2 years, but this one, as you say, is focused on new, and it's just there's not enough cars, and there's more demand than there are cars.
Yeah, in fact, we did an episode with Karl for Michigan's AutoTalk Podcast where we talked about the highest priced used cars in the Grand Rapids-Kalamazoo Battle Creek DMA. So we're going to go through the list. These are the new cars that you are going to pay over sticker for the most here in the Grand Rapids, West Michigan area. And specifically, starting at number 5, this car earlier I alluded to, this is like a unicorn. We don't see a lot of these on the road here in Grand Rapids, probably because Ford sold out of them in the first run and they didn't sell anymore. It's the Ford Maverick. It's a very interesting looking kind of crossover truck, if you will. Is that a fair description for that vehicle, Karl?
It is. It's built on a front-wheel drive, unibody platform, so it's car-based. But it is a truck, and it's small and easy to drive, and the base model comes with a hybrid engine that gets very good fuel efficiency, so you get all this utility, and they're a standard crew cab, so you end up with seating for 5 in all of them. So you have strong utility, strong fuel efficiency, and a low theoretical starting price. And Ford just really hit on something that hadn't really been in the marketplace for years, decades, arguably a small, city-friendly, fuel-efficient pickup. Yeah. And as you said, they went crazy, and people are buying them up. And you guys get away for just 17.5% over MSRP, or about $4,500. As you noted, in San Diego, they're paying 40% and $10,000 over MSRP, which kind of nukes the whole value equation up that the car truck's supposed to offer, by the way.
Yeah, it sure does. By the way, the base, according to Ford, for the Maverick, the 2023 Maverick, is $22,195. Then it goes to $24,500 for the XLT. That's the mid-range trim, which is pretty common on most Ford trucks. And then they have a Lariat model of the Maverick, which is about $28,000. Now, in the iSeeCars.com study, the average, as you said, here in Grand Rapids, over sticker for a Maverick, if you can even get one at a dealer, is 17.5%. So you're going to be paying about $4,500 over sticker. At number 4 was the Jeep Wrangler Unlimited. That's the really fancy Jeep Wrangler. Again, about the same rate, just shy of 18%, 17.7%. Definitely a higher sticker price. Ouch. You're paying about $8,400, over $8,000 over sticker for a Jeep Wrangler Unlimited. You just had to buy the Jeep Wrangler Unlimited. And that's at number 4. Number 3 surprises me a bit, but it's a sharp-looking, high-end luxury SUV, and I do see a fair amount of these in the greater Grand Rapids, West Michigan area. This is the Lincoln Aviator, and this one is 18.4% over sticker. You're going to pay about $11,000 over what the actual sticker price is, MSRP, for the car. And that's just at number 3. So luxury is on the middle of this list with the Aviator. And the Cadillac CT5, that's the real fast, sporty. Is that I'm trying to remember, is that a crossover, the CT5?
No, that is the sedan.
That's the sedan.
Which is kind of cool because, we've watched the sedan overall die. And the fact that Cadillac can make one that's so desirable, it's pulling 22.2% above MSRP and $9,600, almost $10,000 over MSRP, shows that there is still a market out there somewhere for sedans. If you make a good one, there are people who want them.
Yeah. I have a friend who has test driven one of those, and they said it was one of the most fun cars to drive they've ever driven, and that's why people are paying 22% over sticker, and again at $9,600. The Jeep Wrangler is the most over sticker price for the Grand Rapids, Michigan market. According to this iSeeCars.com study, and you can see this and many others at iSeeCars.com, Karl Brauer is executive analyst with iSeeCars.com. And Karl, the Wrangler came in at number one, 27.6% over sticker. That's on average what people are paying here in Grand Rapids, Kalamazoo, the West Michigan area. That's $10,000 above sticker. And I remember, Karl, when you and I did the episode on highest overpaid for used cars, the most overpaid used car brands, the Jeep Wrangler was in the top of that list as well, was it not?
The Wrangler is like its whole other, universe that it exists in. And I remember this, from my days at Kelley Blue Book when we were always looking at resale value there too. And it was always like you have the resale value curve for every car, and then you have this whole other calculation and curve you have to do for just the Wrangler that's separate from all the other cars. It's just people love the thing. And, they've got a great system there, right? They have a pretty unique car, although the Bronco finally has given people an alternative to that concept, but it's looked the same for decades, with maybe a little bit of square headlights back there somewhere, but generally it looks the same. And people just love them, whether they're new or they're used. They just serve a purpose that's very specific. They've got a passionate fan base, and apparently they've never made too many of them. They kind of followed Enzo's rule, right? How many are you going to make? One less than people want, right? Well, they just never make enough Wranglers, and so new and used ones, always expensive.
Yeah, and you're right. It just does not seem to be abating, and it is, it's just a car a lot of people want. It has a starting price of just over $30,000 for a 2-door model and $34,000 for a 4-door, but you're going to pay way more than that because I see so many of those Rubicon models. That's the beefier Jeep Wrangler. The Rubicon has an $80,000 MSRP. So imagine how much people are overpaying for that Jeep Wrangler. I don't even want to think about it. But again, top 5 most overpaid for cars in terms of new cars here in Grand Rapids, according to iSeeCars.com, Ford Maverick, the Jeep Wrangler Unlimited, at number 3, the Lincoln Aviator, the Cadillac CT5 at number 2, and the Jeep Wrangler at number 1, nearly 28% over sticker, average of $10,000 over the retail price that most people are paying for a new Wrangler here in Grand Rapids, Kalamazoo, and the greater West Michigan area. Karl Brauer, executive analyst with iSeeCars.com. Karl, thank you as always. I love having you on, and we'll get you back on here soon so we can hopefully talk about maybe some trending downward car prices. That'd be a nice thing, Karl. Let's do that soon.
Absolutely. And, the industry is never boring, but I don't know if it's ever been more interesting than the last few years for obvious reasons. So always fun to talk with you about it.
And that's why we have Karl and iSeeCars.com. Thanks so much. He's been our guest on this edition of Michigan's AutoTalk Podcast. For Al Schwinkendorf and John Puick, I'm producer Phil Tower. We'll catch you again next week.